Top 10 Australian towns where home prices are so incredibly low, you'll think someone's pulling your leg. Number 10. Andamooka, South Australia. Welcome to Australia's underground opal capital, where you can literally buy a home carved into a hillside for under $50,000. Andamooka isn't your typical suburban paradise, but that's exactly what makes it fascinating. This remote mining town sits 600 kilometers north of Adelaide, where summer temperatures regularly soar above 45 degrees Celsius, and the landscape looks more like Mars than mainstream Australia. Here's the hook that'll grab you. Some residents live completely underground in dugout homes that maintain a constant temperature year-round. No air conditioning required. These subterranean sanctuaries can be purchased for as little as $30,000, complete with carved-out bedrooms, living areas, and even underground pools. But here's where reality bites back. Andamooka has virtually no sealed roads, limited mobile phone coverage, and the nearest major shopping center is a 6-hour drive away. The town's population hovers around just 400 people, most of whom are either miners, retirees seeking cheap living, or adventurous souls drawn to the opal fields. Water comes from bore wells and needs to be carefully managed, while medical services require a trip to larger towns. Yet for those seeking ultimate affordability and don't mind isolation, Andamooka offers something truly unique in the Australian property market. What makes this even more intriguing is that some residents have struck it rich finding opals right in their backyards. Imagine buying a dirt-cheap home and potentially discovering gemstones worth thousands. But are you prepared for the challenges that come with such extreme remote living? Number 9. Lee Creek, South Australia. Picture this, an entire planned town being dismantled and sold off piece by piece, with homes going for prices that seem too good to be true. Lee Creek was once a thriving mining community of over 2,000 residents, complete with schools, hospitals, shopping centers, and modern infrastructure. Today you can buy a 3-bedroom home here for under $20,000. But there's a catch that'll make your head spin. The town was purpose-built in the 1980s to house workers for a nearby coal mine, featuring well-designed homes with modern amenities, tree-lined streets, and community facilities that would make any suburb jealous. When the mine closed in 2015, the South Australian government made the controversial decision to gradually decommission the entire town. This created a unique situation where quality homes in good condition became available at basement prices. Here's where it gets emotionally complex. You're essentially buying into a ghost town in the making. While basic services like power and water are still maintained, the school closed, the hospital reduced services, and businesses gradually shuttered. The remaining residents, mostly retirees and bargain hunters, describe an eerie but oddly peaceful existence in their well-maintained homes surrounded by increasingly empty neighborhoods. The psychological impact is real. Imagine living in a beautiful home in a well-planned community, but watching your neighbors leave one by one until you're among the last few dozen residents in a town designed for thousands. Some buyers see opportunity in this decline, purchasing multiple properties as investments or creating their own private compounds. But could you handle the isolation of living in a place that's slowly fading away? The next town on our list takes remote living to an even more extreme level. Number 8. Coober Pedy, South Australia. Welcome to the self-proclaimed opal capital of the world, where you can buy an underground home for the price of a luxury car, but you'll be living in one of the most challenging environments on Earth. Coober Pedy's real estate market is unlike anything you've ever encountered, with dugout homes selling for $30,000 to $60,000, complete with multiple bedrooms, kitchens, and living areas carved directly into sandstone hills. Here's the mind-bending reality. This town exists almost entirely underground, because surface temperatures can reach 50 degrees Celsius in summer, making above-ground living nearly unbearable without massive cooling costs. The underground homes maintain a comfortable 23 degrees year-round without any heating or cooling systems. You could own a 3-bedroom underground mansion with hand-carved walls, underground swimming pools, and even underground churches and hotels as neighbors. But living in Coober Pedy means adapting to an alien lifestyle. The town has a population of around 1,700 people from over 45 different nationalities, all drawn by opal mining opportunities and cheap living costs. There are no lawns or gardens, because nothing grows naturally in this desert environment. Street signs are minimal because many businesses and homes are underground and unmarked from the surface. The social dynamics are fascinating yet challenging. This is a transient community where people come to mine opals and either strike it rich or go broke trying. Mental health services are limited, entertainment options are scarce, and the nearest major city is a 9-hour drive away. Yet some residents describe an addictive freedom in living so far removed from conventional society, where everyone minds their own business and eccentricity is not just accepted, but expected. The question becomes, are you mentally prepared for life in what essentially amounts to a modern-day frontier town where the American Wild West meets Mad Max? Because our next destination takes isolation to levels that would test even the most independent spirits. Number 7. Broken Hill, New South Wales. Step into Australia's Silver City, where grand Victorian mansions that once housed mining magnates now sell for less than what you'd pay for a small apartment in Sydney. Broken Hill's property market is a time capsule of opportunity, with heritage homes featuring ornate architecture, high ceilings, and period details available for $40,000 to $80,000. But this mining city of 18,000 residents sits 500 kilometers from the nearest major city, creating both opportunity and isolation. Here's what'll capture your imagination. Broken Hill is home to some of Australia's most stunning heritage architecture, with entire streets of Victorian and Edwardian buildings that in any major city would sell for millions. The town's mining wealth from the late 1800s created a legacy of grand homes, many now available at prices that seem impossible in today's market. You could own a mansion with original stained glass windows, wraparound verandas, and rooms large enough to host formal dinner parties. The challenging reality is that Broken Hill's economy remains heavily dependent on mining, making it vulnerable to boom and bust cycles. When mines scale back operations, unemployment rises quickly, and property values can drop even further. The town experiences extreme temperature variations, from scorching summers exceeding 45 degrees to surprisingly cold winters with occasional snow. Yet Broken Hill offers something increasingly rare: a genuine community where neighbors know each other, local businesses are owned by families you can name, and the pace of life allows for actual relationships rather than just transactions. The town boasts a thriving arts scene, quality medical facilities for its size, and educational opportunities through the School of the Air and local TAFE. The cultural aspect is particularly compelling. This is where iconic Australian films like Mad Max and Priscilla, Queen of the Desert were filmed, giving the town an unexpected connection to popular culture. Local galleries showcase works by artists inspired by the dramatic outback landscape, and the town's multicultural heritage from its mining history creates a surprisingly sophisticated dining and cultural scene. But here's the emotional reality check. Could you handle living where your nearest major shopping center, specialist medical services, or cultural events require a 5-hour drive? Where career opportunities outside mining are extremely limited, and your social circle will largely consist of the same few hundred families. Our next town presents even more extreme trade-offs between affordability and lifestyle limitations. Number 6. Lightning Ridge, New South Wales. Imagine owning a home where you could literally dig for black opals worth millions right in your backyard, all for the price of a second-hand car. Lightning Ridge offers properties starting from $20,000, but this opal mining town operates by rules that would seem impossible anywhere else in Australia. Here, you can buy a basic home and simultaneously acquire opal mining rights, creating the tantalizing possibility of striking it rich while living affordably. The town's unique character immediately grabs your attention. Lightning Ridge is famous for producing the world's finest black opals, and the entire community revolves around the eternal hope of discovering the next million-dollar stone. Residents include everyone from third-generation mining families to international prospectors, retired professionals seeking adventure, and artists drawn by the town's creative energy and cheap living costs. Here's where reality intersects with dreams. While some residents have indeed found opals worth hundreds of thousands or even millions, the vast majority of miners barely break even or lose money. The town's economy swings dramatically based on opal finds and market prices, creating an atmosphere of perpetual optimism mixed with financial uncertainty. Housing is cheap partly because the local economy is so unpredictable. The social dynamics are unlike anywhere else in Australia. This is a town where millionaires live next to battlers, where someone living in a basic caravan might own opal fields worth fortunes, and where the local pub serves as both social center and informal stock exchange for opal trading. The community includes people from over 30 countries, all united by the shared dream of finding their fortune in the ground. Living conditions can be challenging. Many homes lack modern amenities, reliable internet is limited, and the nearest hospital is an hour's drive away. Summer temperatures regularly exceed 40 degrees. Water can be scarce during drought periods, and the red dust gets into everything. Yet residents describe an addictive lifestyle where every day holds the possibility of life-changing discovery. The psychological aspect is particularly intense. Lightning Ridge attracts people seeking escape from conventional life, whether they're running from debt, failed relationships, or simply the constraints of suburban existence. This creates a community of fascinating characters, but also means social services are stretched thin, and not everyone who arrives is prepared for the harsh realities of outback living. Could you handle a lifestyle where your financial future depends partly on luck, where your neighbors might include both millionaires and people living in their cars, and where the nearest major city is a 6-hour drive through some of Australia's most unforgiving country? The next town on our list offers slightly more conventional living, but with challenges that might surprise you. Number 5. Quilpie, Queensland. Welcome to Queensland's Opal Country, where you can buy a renovated 3-bedroom home for $30,000 in a town that's fighting to maintain its identity against the forces of rural decline. Quilpie sits in the heart of Queensland's opal fields, 350 kilometers from Charleville and nearly 1,000 kilometers from Brisbane, creating a unique real estate market where quality homes sell for prices that urban dwellers find unbelievable. This town of fewer than 600 residents offers something increasingly rare: genuine community spirit where everyone knows everyone. Local businesses are family-owned, and helping your neighbor isn't just expected, it's essential for survival. The homes available range from character-filled Queenslanders with wide verandas and high ceilings to modern brick homes with all amenities, all priced well below what you'd pay for a car in most Australian cities. Here's what makes Quilpie particularly intriguing. It's actively fighting rural decline through innovative community initiatives. The town has invested in solar power, improved telecommunications, and created programs to attract new residents. Local opal mining provides some economic activity, and the town serves as a service center for surrounding cattle stations and smaller communities. The challenges are real and immediate. Employment opportunities are extremely limited outside of mining, cattle work, or small business ownership. The nearest major medical facilities are hours away, specialized shopping requires trips to larger towns, and career advancement often means leaving town entirely. School options are limited, with many families choosing distance education or boarding school for their children's secondary education. Yet Quilpie offers something money can't buy in larger cities: space, peace, and genuine community connection. Residents describe a lifestyle where stress comes from weather and commodity prices rather than traffic and mortgages, where children can safely explore the outdoors, and where your contribution to the community genuinely matters. The climate presents both opportunities and challenges. Winters are mild and pleasant, perfect for outdoor activities, but summers can be brutally hot with temperatures exceeding 45 degrees. Drought periods can last for years, affecting not just agriculture but the town's overall mood and economic prospects. The social fabric is complex and rewarding. New residents often struggle initially with the adjustment to small-town life where privacy is limited and everyone's business becomes community knowledge. However, those who adapt describe deep, meaningful relationships impossible to develop in anonymous urban settings. Are you prepared for a lifestyle where your nearest neighbors might be kilometers away, where your children's playmates are limited to a few dozen kids in the entire district, and where your professional and social opportunities are constrained by geography? Our next town presents similar challenges but with an added layer of economic uncertainty. Number 4. Augathella, Queensland. Picture a classic Queensland country town where heritage-listed homes with ornate verandas and period features sell for $25,000 to $40,000. But the town's future hangs in the balance as rural industries struggle to remain viable. Augathella, with its population of around 450, represents both the charm and challenges of rural Australian living, where property prices seem impossibly low but come with lifestyle trade-offs that urban dwellers might find shocking. This Warrego River town showcases some of Queensland's finest country architecture, with many homes featuring the classic Queenslander design of elevated construction, wide verandas, and intricate woodwork. These homes, which would cost millions in Brisbane or Sydney if relocated, are available at prices that seem almost fictional in today's property market. The town's economy traditionally depended on wool, beef cattle, and grain production. But changing agricultural markets and recurring droughts have put pressure on rural communities throughout the region. This economic uncertainty contributes to low property prices, but also creates genuine concerns about long-term viability and service provision. Here's what makes Augathella particularly poignant. It's a town caught between preserving its heritage and adapting to modern realities. The local community works hard to maintain essential services, organize social events, and attract new residents, but faces the ongoing challenge of rural decline that affects much of inland Australia. Living in Augathella means embracing a lifestyle that's disappeared from most of Australia. Children can safely ride bikes anywhere in town, neighbours help during emergencies without being asked, and community events genuinely bring everyone together. The pace of life allows for hobbies, relationships, and personal interests that get crowded out by urban living demands. The practical challenges are significant. Employment opportunities are largely limited to agriculture, small business, or government services. Medical care requires trips to larger towns for anything beyond basic services. Specialist shopping involves major expeditions, and educational choices for children are constrained by distance and availability. Weather extremes define much of life in Augathella. Summer temperatures regularly exceed 40 degrees, putting strain on aging electrical systems and making outdoor work challenging. Drought periods can last for years, affecting not just farming, but the entire town's economic and psychological well-being. When floods do come, they can isolate the town for days or weeks. The social dynamics require adjustment for newcomers. Privacy is limited in a town where everyone knows everyone's business, but this also creates a support network that urban dwellers rarely experience. Local politics can become personal, and personality conflicts have nowhere to hide in such a small community. Could you find fulfillment in a place where your career options are limited, but your community connections are deep? Where modern conveniences are scarce, but natural beauty and peace are abundant? The next town takes these trade-offs to even more extreme levels. Number 3. Cunnamulla, Queensland. Enter the last outpost before the true outback, where you can buy a solid family home for $30,000 in a town that's simultaneously fighting for survival and celebrating its unique character as the gateway to Queensland's Channel Country. Cunnamulla, population 1,200, sits at the crossroads of major outback highways, creating both opportunities and challenges for residents seeking ultra-affordable housing in one of Australia's most remote regions. This town offers something remarkable: genuine outback character with basic amenities still intact. Unlike some declining rural centres, Cunnamulla maintains essential services including a hospital, schools, police station, and various shops and services. The homes available range from classic Queenslanders to modern brick construction, many selling for less than what urban dwellers spend on annual rent. Here's what captures the imagination. Cunnamulla serves as the last major service centre before vast expanses of Channel Country, where cattle stations stretch for hundreds of square kilometres and communities become tiny dots on the map. This creates a unique social dynamic where your neighbours include everyone from multi-generational farming families to international backpackers working seasonal jobs, from retired adventurers to Aboriginal communities with deep cultural connections to the land. The economic reality is complex and challenging. The town's economy depends heavily on agriculture, particularly cattle grazing, but also benefits from its position as a service center for smaller communities and passing travelers. Tourism provides some income, particularly from visitors interested in outback experiences, but employment opportunities for newcomers can be limited and seasonal. Living in Cunnamulla means adapting to extreme isolation by Australian standards. The nearest major city, Brisbane, is an 8-hour drive away through some of Queensland's most challenging country. Specialist medical services, major shopping, and cultural events all require significant travel, making every trip to civilization a major expedition requiring careful planning. CT for outdoor activities, but summers can be brutally oppressive with temperatures exceeding 45 degrees and humidity that makes the heat feel even more intense. Drought periods affect everything from water restrictions to the local economy, while flood seasons can cut the town off from the outside world for weeks. El Fabric is rich but complex. This is a community where Aboriginal culture, pastoral history, and modern outback life intersect in fascinating ways. New residents often struggle with the adjustment to life where entertainment options are limited, privacy is minimal, and everyone's personal business becomes community knowledge within days. Number 2. Walgett, New South Wales. Discover a town where racial tensions, economic hardship, and social challenges have created a property market so depressed that decent family homes sell for $15,000 to $30,000, making it one of Australia's most controversial real estate opportunities. Walgett, population 2,000, sits at the junction of the Barwon and Namoi rivers in northwestern New South Wales, creating both natural beauty and complex social dynamics that potential residents must carefully consider. Here's the immediate attention grabber. Walgett has been the subject of numerous media reports, government inquiries, and social programs due to its high levels of social disadvantage. The town's infrastructure tells a story of both potential and decline. Walgett features wide streets, established gardens, solid brick and timber homes from more prosperous eras, and basic services including schools, medical facilities, and shopping. Many properties show the bones of quality construction, but suffer from deferred maintenance due to economic pressures and population decline. Living in Walgett means confronting Australia's most challenging social issues firsthand. The town has struggled with high unemployment, substance abuse, domestic violence, and educational disadvantage. Government programs come and go. Community leaders work tirelessly for improvement. But progress is slow and often frustrated by complex historical and economic factors. Yet within this challenging environment, you'll find stories of remarkable resilience and community spirit. Aboriginal elders maintaining cultural traditions, non-Aboriginal families who've lived here for generations, newcomers drawn by affordability or social work commitments, and community organizations working to create positive change despite limited resources. The economic opportunities are severely limited. Agriculture provides some employment, but mechanization has reduced jobs. Government services employ some residents, but career advancement often requires leaving town. Small business opportunities exist, but face challenges from limited customer base and economic uncertainty. The social dynamics require careful navigation. Newcomers often struggle to understand complex community relationships, historical grievances, and cultural differences that affect daily interactions. However, those who approach the community with respect and genuine desire to contribute often find acceptance and meaningful relationships. Climate and isolation add additional challenges. Summer temperatures regularly exceed 45 degrees, putting strain on aging infrastructure and making outdoor work dangerous. The town sits hours from major cities, making access to specialist services, shopping, and cultural activities difficult and expensive. Could you find purpose and satisfaction in a community facing such significant challenges, where your presence might contribute to positive change, but where personal sacrifices would be substantial, where property prices reflect real social and economic problems rather than just geographic isolation? Our final town presents the ultimate test of whether ultra-low property prices are worth the trade-offs required. Number 1. Brewarina, New South Wales. Welcome to Australia's most affordable real estate market, where you can buy a house for under $10,000, but you'll be moving to a town grappling with some of the most serious social challenges in the country. Brewarrina, population 1,100, sits on the Barwon Reef where ancient Aboriginal fish traps represent 40,000 years of continuous habitation, but modern economic and social problems have created property prices that seem too low to be real. Here's the stark reality that demands your attention. Brewarrina regularly appears in statistics as one of Australia's most disadvantaged communities, with unemployment rates exceeding 50%, high levels of social dysfunction, and government services stretched beyond capacity. This has created a property market where substantial family homes, some with river frontage and established gardens, sell for prices equivalent to a few months' rent in major cities. The town's history is both inspiring and tragic. The Brewarrina fish traps are recognized as the world's oldest man-made structures, representing sophisticated Aboriginal engineering and sustainable fishing practices that supported large communities for millennia. European settlement brought sheep and cattle industries that once made the town prosperous, evidenced by solid public buildings and quality homes from earlier eras. Today's reality is more complex and challenging. The town struggles with intergenerational unemployment, substance abuse, domestic violence, and educational disadvantage that government programs have been unable to effectively address despite decades of intervention and millions of dollars in funding. The Aboriginal community, comprising about 60% of the population, faces particular challenges maintaining cultural identity while adapting to modern economic realities. Yet within this difficult environment, you'll discover remarkable stories of resilience and hope. Community elders working to preserve cultural knowledge, teachers and health workers making extraordinary commitments to their students and patients, local businesses persisting despite economic challenges, and families raising children with strong values despite limited opportunities. The practical challenges of living in Brewarrina are immense. Employment opportunities are extremely limited outside government services, small business, or seasonal agricultural work. The nearest major shopping and services are in Dubbo, a 4-hour drive away. Medical specialists require even longer travel, and educational opportunities for children are constrained by distance and resources. The social environment requires exceptional cultural sensitivity and understanding. Newcomers must navigate complex community relationships, historical grievances between different groups, and cultural practices that may be unfamiliar. Those who approach the community with respect and genuine desire to contribute can find acceptance, but the adjustment period can be lengthy and challenging. Climate adds another layer of difficulty. Summers are oppressively hot with temperatures exceeding 45 degrees and minimal rainfall. Drought periods can last for years, affecting water supplies and the local economy. When floods do occur, they can isolate the town completely, cutting off supplies and services for extended periods. The question becomes profoundly personal and ethical. Is ultra-cheap housing worth moving to a community facing such serious challenges? Could you find meaning in contributing to positive change in a place where progress is measured in decades rather than years? Where your presence might make a real difference but personal sacrifices would be substantial? Looking back at these 10 towns, we've seen a consistent pattern. Ultra-low property prices come with serious trade-offs involving isolation, limited services, economic uncertainty, and in some cases, significant social challenges. Each town offers unique opportunities for those prepared to embrace radically different lifestyles, but none represent simple bargains without complications. The reality is that these prices reflect genuine challenges rather than market inefficiencies. Whether you're seeking adventure, affordability, or escape from urban pressures, these towns demand careful consideration of what you're willing to sacrifice for cheap housing. If you found this exploration of Australia's cheapest property markets helpful and eye-opening, make sure to like this video and share it with anyone considering a major lifestyle change. Subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon to get notified when we release our next video exploring unique opportunities and challenges across Australia. Your support helps us continue bringing you in-depth content about places and topics that matter.